This video will explain how to configure NEPTA so that it automatically calculates billing details for your trips. There are 6 things that need to be set up in order for this to happen. We'll work through each one, and not all of them are mandatory. So the first thing we need to look at are the rate setting in options. The first 2 fields are the start and end of the business hours. Now these are not the opening and closing hours of your office, but rather these are set by the government agency as the hours that the day rate begins and ends. So in this case, between 7 a.m. and 5:30 p.m, trips are considered on the day rates, and outside of those hours is considered after hours. The next field is for a commercial provider. So if your organisation supplies NEPT services to a government agency, then this box needs to be ticked, and that is what enables rates to be calculated automatically within NEPTA. Now the next field is the date at which the current rates apply from, and its purpose is for when the time comes to change or increase your organisation's rates. So on that day, you'll go in, you update your rates, and then you'll set the date of this field to be that particular date. And then NEPTA will know that all bookings from that date on will be charged at the current rates, and old bookings will be charged at the previously saved rates. The next 2 fields are about the wait time. That is the time your crews spend waiting to pick up or to drop off a patient. They are both set by the government agency that you contract to. In this case, 45 minutes is built in to the schedules for pick up and drop off, and if the wait time exceeds that 45 minutes, then any wait time over that is charged in 15-minute blocks. The next field is used to determine backloads. So if a booking is picking up a patient from a place where it just dropped off a patient, and it is within, in this case, 120 minutes of the time it dropped off the last patient, then that booking will be considered a backload, and the rates and fees will be altered accordingly. And in this case, the alteration will be that a 60% discount will apply to each leg of that trip. And the last field tells NEPTA not to recalculate the cost of bookings that are over X days old, in this case 30 days old. Now if your organisation is in the habit of finalising its bookings every 7 days or every 14 days, then you could tell NEPTA not to recalculate its bookings, say after 21 days. I would give yourself some leeway, just in case, due to illness or some other reason, there is a delay in billing. So that completes the option settings. The next settings are the travel modes on the lists menu. In here, we just need to ensure that the rate mode is set for the particular charge out rate for that particular travel mode. In this case, bariatric stretcher is set to the bariatric rate. Wheelchair is set to the wheelchair rate, and stretcher is set to the standard rate. So the next stage is to enter the rates for your organisation. The rates are divided into 3 sections: standard, bariatric, and wheelchair. You might notice in this particular example that the bariatric rates aren't entered. That's because this organisation does not provide bariatric services. So there's no need to enter rates for services that your organisation does not. Now, between the standard, bariatric and wheelchair, the rates are further divided into business hours and after hours, and again into the number of crew, 1, 2 or 3, and again into low acuity or medium acuity patients. And for each one of those, a flag fall is entered, and a rate 1, which are rates applied to the first 25 kilometres of a journey, and then rate 2, which are rates over the 25-kilometre mark. Completing this list enables NEPTA to automatically select the appropriate rates for the journey. There are also wait time rates, and these are divided into business hours and after hours, and again, low and medium acuities for each one of those, and a space to put in the waiting time rate. And as mentioned earlier, these are charged per person in 15-minute intervals. The next thing to enter is the public holidays. Now, if your organisation's crews don't work on public holidays, then there is no need to enter any public holidays. In future versions of NEPTA, it is hoped that the public holidays will display on the running sheet, but at this stage they don't. So as I said, if your organisation's crews don't work on public holidays, then there's no need to enter public holidays. But do bear in mind that just because it's not a public holiday where you are, it doesn't necessarily follow that it's not a public holiday in the area where your crew is based. There are three kinds of public holidays. There are state-based public holidays, regional holidays, and city holidays. To enter a state holiday, such as a Christmas Day, we just need to enter the date, a description of why it's a holiday, and select state. The other fields can be left blank. An example of a regional holiday is where it is a holiday in an area that comprises several cities and towns. And a good example of that is Recreation Day in the north and northwest. So to enter a regional holiday, we enter the date, the description, and in the type we select regional, and then we select the region that the holiday applies to. As Recreation Day is in more than one region, we need to enter it again for the other regions that it applies to. And the final kind of holiday is a citywide holiday, such as show days. So in the case of Launceston Show Day, we enter the date, the description, we select city, and then we leave region blank and select the city that it applies to, in this case Launceston. And lastly, there is one other holiday, which is the Launceston Cup, which is citywide but only commences from 11 a.m. So to enter that, we just need to enter it as before, but make sure we enter 11 a.m. as the time from. So bookings that are before 11 a.m. on that day will be charged at the day rate, and bookings after 11 a.m. will be charged at the after hours rate, and any bookings that cross those two times need to pass the 75% rule in order to qualify to be after hours. Now, if you do enter public holidays, one tip I have is that after you've entered a year's worth of holidays, then there's no need to continue entering any more. The next year, or after a particular holiday is passed, just come around and change the date so that it is the date for the holiday in the next year. So each year after the first, you'll find you'll only have to change the dates rather than all of the other details. And the final thing to be entered are the time and distance schedules. Time and distance schedules are provided by the government agency on an Excel spreadsheet. So once you have that spreadsheet, you can browse to its location and then click Load File, and it will load the spreadsheet into NEPTA. For those unfamiliar with this spreadsheet, it's a workbook with two worksheets in it, one for distance and one for times, and they show the scheduled kilometres or times between hospitals or between suburbs and hospitals. Now, hopefully the government agency doesn't change this too frequently, but if they do, and they provide this on a spreadsheet, then it can simply be imported into NEPTA. To do this, it's a four-step process. We just click each button in order. So first of all, we'll just check all the locations exist. And they're all green, green tick, that's good. We'll check the location order is the same. Again, another green tick. We'll check the locations are unique, tick, and then we can click import. And it's imported that quickly. Now, if there is a problem or you don't get a green tick, then you'll need to email that spreadsheet to support@itguaranteed.com.au and we'll have a look at it and see what can be done. Now, if you've completed everything correctly, the next time you save a booking, you will automatically calculate the rates. Thank you for watching. And one last reminder is that all of the information I've described here can be found in the user manual under the section called Rates and Billing.